Welcome back, Patriots. If you're just tuning in, welcome to Sons of Liberty 1773. I'm your host, Bill Bailey. This is indeed a community where liberty-loving people from America and around the world meet, share a lot of, talk a lot about prepping, preparedness, the tyranny of the day, which there's a lot of. In this case, today we'll be talking about runaway technology. And I like to weave in a little American history because I think it's important for us to understand our present and future. We need to look to the past. Somebody's been where we are before, especially at the founding of this country. So, quote of the day, Patrick Henry. It is when people forget God that tyrants forge their chains. I believe we're in a spiritual warfare right now. 99% of this, but we're going into crazy times. Some of you know, some of you don't. I do write. Spent 13 years writing a science fiction book. I'll talk a little bit about it at the end and how you can get the digital copy for free. 500 pages, folks. 13 years of work. And what I'm going to talk about today is has a lot to do with this story that came to me in a vision, to be honest. What was science fiction, there's a geometric progression of technology. It's snowballing, right? As we gain more, we even gain more quicker. What's new today now is old tomorrow. And science fiction stuff that I'm going to talk about now that's literally happening right now as I'm speaking to you, what was science fiction just years ago is now scientific fact. Let's dive right into it. I mean, and this is bizarre stuff I'm going to share with you. I think I have a vision of where all this leads, and we're living it right now, and we just don't know it. But let me get to this. This is some wild stuff. German molecular biologist unveils concept of world's first artificial womb facility, which can incubate up to 30,000 lab-grown babies. Isn't that just wonderful? Why do they need humans anymore? Why do they need us to breed, right? They want to take away human interaction. I mean, intimate human interaction, right? And they'll just, breed babies in a growing cell in an artificial womb. They will genetically modify them to be super warriors, tyrannical police officers, whatever they want. They'll do genetic engineering, mind control. Look at if humans were if there was no evil in the world and no sin. This technology would be fine. We could deal with it. But, I have the same problem with us having nuclear weapons. Eventually, we're going to get around to using them. We've used them to destroy 2 cities, right? But we'll get around, and it's coming. I mean, could happen any time now to where humanity will unleash the power of the atom on each other, and we will be living in the Mad Max world. But so on Friday, it's a recent article, folks. On Friday, a German molecular biologist by trade unveiled a new concept for the world's first artificial womb facility, Ecto-Life, which could incubate up to 30,000 babies a year. My new concept will be unveiled early December, something that I've been working on for a while, said Hasham El. I'm going to screw this name up, so I'm not going to say it. November. The new concept relies on over 50 years of groundbreaking scientific research. And remember, a few years ago, the sheep, an artificial womb successfully grew baby sheep, and humans could be next. That was from 2017. And there was the process. There they are, growing sheep in artificial wombs. And the sheeps lived. I don't remember how long, but the sheep were born, they lived. So back to this. This Hasham El I can never pronounce these foreign names. I'm sorry, folks. I'm sorry to all you people that have foreign names. I just botch them. I'm sorry. So Hashim El Ghaili, a molecular biologist, producer, filmmaker, and science communicator based in Berlin, Germany. Ectolife, which operates solely on renewable energy, enables infertile couples to conceive and become the biological parents of their offsprings. This will be Clone Wars, folks. This is what this will be. But watch this. This is, I might leave my mic. I may not mute myself in this one, just so we can, I can comment when I feel the need. So here, I'm going to put my headphones on, or you'll...
Introducing Ectolife, the world's first artificial womb facility, powered entirely by renewable energy. Ectolife allows infertile couple to conceive a baby and become the true biological parents of their own offspring. It's a perfect solution for women who had their uterus surgically removed due to cancer or other complications. With Ectolife, premature births and C-sections will be a thing of the past. Ectolife is designed to help countries that are suffering from severe population decline, including Japan, Bulgaria, South Korea, and many others. The facility features 75 highly equipped labs. Each state-of-the-art lab can accommodate up to 400 growth pods or artificial wombs. Every pod is designed to replicate the exact conditions that exist inside the mother's uterus.
I've been getting paid $1,000 a month,
folks.
if not more, just from this app on my phone. And I don't know if you can see this, but it's called...
A single building can incubate up to 30,000 lab-grown babies per year. Ectolife allows your baby to develop in an infection-free environment. The pods are made of materials that prevent germs from sticking to their surfaces. Every growth pod features sensors that can monitor your baby's vital signs, including heartbeat, temperature, blood pressure, breathing rate, and oxygen saturation. The artificial intelligence-based system also monitors the physical features of your baby and reports any potential genetic abnormalities. The pods are equipped with a screen that displays real-time data on the developmental progress of your baby. These data are sent directly to your phone so you can track your baby's health from the comfort of your zone. The app also provides you with a high-resolution live view of your baby's development. A special section in the app allows you to watch a time-lapse of your baby's growth and share it directly with your loved ones. Because babies can recognize language and learn new words while still in the womb, Ectolife growth pods feature internal speakers that play a wide range of words and music to your baby. Through the app, you can choose the playlist that your baby listens to. You can also directly sing to your baby and make them familiar with your voice before birth. Our goal is to provide you with an intelligent offspring that truly reflects your smart choices. Ectolife improves your bonding experience with your baby. Thanks to a 360 degrees camera that's fitted inside your baby's growth pod, you can use your virtual reality headset to explore what it's like to be in your baby's place. See what they see and hear what they hear. Using a wireless haptic suit connected to your baby's growth pod, you will be able to sense their kicks in the womb and share this experience with your friends and family members. With Ectolife, your baby will receive the best nutrients that can support their growth. Each group of pods is connected to 2 central bioreactors. The first bioreactor contains nutrients and oxygen, which are supplied to your baby through an artificial umbilical cord. This bioreactor also contains a liquid solution that serves as the amniotic fluid that surrounds babies in the mother's uterus. It's rich of vital hormones, growth factors, and antibodies that sustain your baby's growth and development. Thanks to a system controlled by artificial intelligence, each baby receives custom nutrients tailored to their needs. The second bioreactor is designed to eliminate any waste products produced by the babies. The artificial umbilical cord helps the babies to release their waste products into the second bioreactor. With the help of a delicate layer of engineered enzymes, the second bioreactor can then recycle waste products and turn them back into useful nutrients. This way, the facility ensures a steady and sustainable supply of fresh nutrients to your baby. With Ectolife, miscarriage and low sperm count are a thing of the past. Prior to placing the fertilized embryo of your baby inside the growth pod, in vitro fertilization is used to create and select the most viable and genetically superior embryo, giving your baby a chance to develop without any biological hurdles.
Sorry, folks. Gotta deal with it.
And if you want your baby to stand out and have a brighter future, our Elite Package offers you the opportunity to genetically engineer the embryo before implanting it into the artificial womb. Thanks to CRISPR-Cas9 gene editing tool, you can edit any trait of your baby through a wide range of over 300 genes. By genetically engineering a set of genes, the Elite Package allows you to customize your baby's eye color, hair color, skin tone, physical strength, height, and level of intelligence. It also allows you to fix any inherited genetic diseases that are part of your family history so that your baby and their offspring will live a healthy, comfortable life free of genetic diseases. Say goodbye to the pain of childbirth and birth-related muscle contractions. Ectolife provides you a safe, pain-free alternative that helps you deliver your baby without stress. The delivery process is smooth, convenient, and can be done with just a push of a button. After discharging the amniotic fluid from the artificial womb, you will be able to easily remove your baby from the growth pod. Everything is perfectly designed so you and your partner can enjoy the delivery process. To ensure full transparency, our post-delivery free DNA paternity test helps you confirm the genetic identity of your baby so you can return home knowing that your baby is genetically yours. You don't have to worry about power cuts or carbon footprint. Ectolife uses highly efficient, clean, renewable energy consisting of solar and wind power. The highly advanced pods operate with minimal energy needs, making it easy for your baby to make it to full term without any complications. And for those who want a more convenient solution, Ectolife is made accessible so your life can be easier. Thanks to our miniaturized bioreactors and long-lasting batteries, you can use Ectolife growth pods at the comfort of your home, allowing you to incubate your baby in your building without the need to visit our factory. By owning your special growth pod, you will have the ability to build a happy family, one baby at a time, away from any birth complications.
Nothing can go wrong here.
The concept of Ectolife facility was designed by biotechnologist and science communicator Hashim Al-Ghaili.
We get it, right?
It relies on groundbreaking research work that has been conducted.
They're going to grow babies. I've seen this story before. Remember the Matrix where human batteries? This is insanity. That's what this is. Where is that picture? Whoops. They're going to genetically modify humans. There's no long. The government now will decide who can what DNA they're going to allow to create a human life or to grow a human. I guess men can be a birth. I mean, you could have, you can take the DNA. I guess you can have a birthing person now. It doesn't need to be male or female. They just need your DNA, and they'll manipulate it. And I assume that if the kid's having a certain gene where they tend to be independent people, they flush? We're sorry your baby didn't take. We're growing a new one for you, so they can all be little tyrants. I mean, you look what they're doing with the indoctrination and our, the communist re-education camps that were once our sacred education institutions, schools and college campuses. I say if you want a good little socialist, send them to a public school, and then if you want a growing communist, send them to a state campus, because they're re-educating them from American-loving, godly people into American-hating communist, atheist. So I just can't imagine how bad this would go. I think there will be a use for this technology at some point, but not this. And we're not. Humanity can't possess this technology. It would just end up being demonic. At this point, I think there's a point, and I'll explain later, where humanity will be able to deal with this technology. But there's just too much evil in the world right now to let this exist. And then when you couple this, growing humans, I'm sorry, folks, with Neuralink, right, which is, let me find it here really quick. Right here. Elon Musk expects Neuralink's brain chip to begin human trials in 6 months. 6 months. He tweeted about it, and I shared the tweet. This is just one of them. Elon Musk, we are now confident that the Neuralink device is ready for humans, so timing is a function of working through the FDA approval process. They believe they'll be, implanting this possibly this year into humans. And at first, this is wonderful technology, folks. I mean, it's always a two-edged sword. This is literally going to be the first big breakthrough of Neuralink. People that have a severed spine or a broken neck and they lost all their motoring functions, this very likely is going to be able to restore a person's ability to walk and use their limbs again that are paralyzed. Wonderful, right? And types of blindness, people born blind, it's going to give them, vision. But I got to remind Elon Musk and these transhumanists, they think they're going to become God. No, you're not. You're not going to become God. And messing with God's work is probably something you shouldn't be doing. I wouldn't want to be getting God angry. I think we're already kind of there. God's pretty patient, and he's got a long temper. But when he loses it, that's with a capital H, look out, okay? So let me read to you where the Neuralink, though, is going to go. Just right down here and this is at Neuralink.com. And eventually to expand how we interact with each other and experience the world around us. So, and just a quick little video, because he came out and with an update on Neuralink just here a couple weeks ago. I just got a little part keyed up I want to share. This is wonderful.
And access to brain regions so that we can expand the functionalities of our technologies. So our first steps along these dimensions for our device is what we call the N1 implant. It's a size of about a quarter, and it has over 1,000 channels that are capable of recording and stimulating. It's microfabricated on a flexible thin film arrays that we call threads. It's fully implantable and wireless, so no wires, and after the surgery, the implant is under the skin and it is invisible. It also has a battery that you can charge wirelessly, and you can use it at home. So similarly, for implanting our device safely into the brain, we built a surgical robot that we call the R1 robot.
Nice.
It's capable of maneuvering these tiny threads that are only on the order of a few red blood cells wide, and inserting them reliably into a moving brain while avoiding vasculature. It's quite good at doing this reliably.
I'm sure.
And in fact, because we've never shown an end-to-end insertion of a robot in action, we're going to do a live demo of the robot doing surgery in our brain proxy. So who wants to see some insertions?
Oh yeah, let's see people getting the brain chip. Patient
So
zero.
here it is. That's our R1 robot with our patient alpha, who is
doing this
lying
year,
comfortably
folks.
on the patient bed.
With a real person. If they get their FDA approval, which I'm sure they will.
This is what we call the targeting view. So what you're seeing is, this is a picture of our brain proxy. And the pink represents the cortical surface that we want to insert our electrodes into. And the black represents the vasculatures that we want to avoid. And what you're seeing is these hash marked with numbers that represents where we intend to put each of our threads. So should we see some insertions?
Oh yeah, they're happy. Here,
So
I'm
this is
sharing.
another view real quick. On the left is the view of the insertion area. And on the right, what the robot's going to do is it's going to peel the array, the threads, one by one from
All right,
its
you
silicon
get the
backing
idea,
and
folks.
insert
They're
it
going
into
to,
the targets
they're gonna
that we
chip
predetermine
humanity.
in the targeting view.
Let me
So-
stop that. You know what technocracy is? Technocracy is a form of government in which the decision maker or makers are selected based on their experience in a given area of responsibility, particularly with regard to scientific or technical knowledge. The system explicitly contrasts with representative democracy, the notion that elected representatives should be the primary decision makers in government, though it does not necessarily imply eliminating elected representatives, not if they got a use for them. Decision makers are selected based on specialized knowledge and performance rather than political affiliations, parliamentary skills, or popularity. Isn't that nice? Remember, for those of you, I just read Brave New World about a year ago. I bought it. A great book. I actually like 1984 a little better, but this is Brave New World stuff that we're dealing with. Brave New World is a dystopian novel by English author Aldous Huxley, written in 1931 and published in 1932, largely set in a futuristic world state whose citizens are environmentally engineered into an intelligence-based social hierarchy. The novel anticipates huge scientific advancements in reproductive technology, sleep learning, psychological manipulation, and classical condition that are combined to make a dystopian society which is challenged by only a single individual, and it goes on. But a great book, by the way. If you haven't read it, I recommend it. So in Brave New World, they're genetically engineering and growing humans, basically. And there's a caste system, and everybody is genetically engineered for their task in society, and they're all just basically useless. I mean, they serve a use. They're the totalitarians, robots, to do their bidding. But it's a miserable society, and the way they keep everybody happy, and the scientists rule over, okay, the elites. There's no police or anything. There's no real crime. Why? Because they give everybody this drug, coma or something, I forget what it's called, soma, that keeps you happy. you're happy regardless. You're just a happy person until you get off of that stuff. And they end up, part of the world is not developed. There's still some natural, they call it the savage area. But the story is they get this savage and they bring him into their technological world, thinking he'll just be so impressed. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but I will tell you he was not impressed. But it was spooky. But we're seeing all this stuff happen. I mean, they're literally going through the FDA process right now to hook this to your brain. Okay. Now, there's an air gap right now between this technology, right? The knowledge of the world. But now it's going to be connected directly to people's brains. And if stuff's going out, it can go in. And there'll be a point where they're going to be able to, flip a switch and, you're a communist, or people that are, I just think of what couldn't they do, and it would be like nothing. So maybe nuclear world war will be the savior from us taking this stuff to a place with humans that should never be. I mean, the baby growing thing and the chips. I mean, I forget what year the Matrix come out. I mean, it's been a decade or so ago, right? The original Matrix, quite a while ago. And now it's becoming reality, right? And so it's spooky. I mean, we're living in a spooky world. So let me share this with you. See where I'm at here. All right. Before I get into what I want to share next, let me get rid of this for just a second. So, just a side note here. Things are getting out of control in with this Russian-Ukraine thing. We're sending Patriot missile batteries into Ukraine. I made a video yesterday. It really should have went viral. I think it's being shadow banned because not only my video, other videos. I mean, this is huge news. I think we're going, we're heading for nuclear world war. I don't know any nice way to say it. And I was over. I don't go to the Drudge. I don't know what happened to the Drudge report. Was it Matt Drudge? Used to be really conservative stories they share, and they kind of went woke over there at the Drudge. I don't know if he sold it, if George Soros bought it and he's locked in his basement. I have no idea what happened to the Drudge. I really don't go there anymore. Steve Bannon happened to mention something the other day, and I went over to the Drudge just to see what they were covering. And let me pull it up really quick. This just pulled up, folks. Isn't this lovely? Putin readies nukes to strike West, 12 times more powerful than Hiroshima bomb. That was not there this morning, so that's news. There's a lot of trash Trump stuff on here, which that's fine. I mean, if you don't like Trump, you don't like one. There's world's first artificial womb facility. They're covering it. But where I wanted to get was Pope warns omens of destruction for mankind. And then they've updated the Drudge. I actually think I have the story here. Here it is. 2 in 5 Americans, nearly half of Christians, believe we are living in the end times. Pope warns. Can I highlight that? Pope warns he has seen omens of even greater destruction and desolation for mankind. Remember the ladies of Fatima that had this vision, right? And they were saving the third part until recent. And I believe the third part, I was trying to find it, doing a short little search this morning. But basically, the third warning of these ladies of Fatima was there was a breakaway from the Catholic Church and the Russian Orthodox Church. And she said if they didn't somehow make peace between these two factions of Christian religion, that there would be a great war. I think we're seeing it, folks. I think it's going to happen. So I'm going to be giving away. I'm going to share for those of you that stuck with me to this. Let me know what you think about this stuff. You know, can we trust humanity to be growing? It's just so unnatural and it just seems so ungodly. Although I wrote about this stuff in a good use, okay, and I'll explain it to you. You know, technology can be used for good or evil, right? It's like everything that comes out with technology, like the Neuralink, right? To help people that have gotten a bad wreck, for a parent to see their son or daughter that gotten hit by a drunk driver 20 years ago, and it ended their career in football or whatever, wherever they were going, and they've been wheelchair bound. And for this Neuralink to restore their child's ability to walk and use their limbs again, I mean, it's incredible, right? But then, you know, the Neuralink for the government to get in and, you know, turn us all into frickin' robots that's, you know, zombies, slaves, really. So, you know, it's nuclear medicine, right? Nuclear power, nuclear bombs. So, and everything's like that. So you can have a good use. If society, if there wasn't evil in the world, which is something the left refuses to acknowledge, that there is truly evil in the world. There's stories every day of the evil that's happening right here in America, and the crime is way through the roof. I'm just sadistic evil stuff, right? So let me know what you think about this stuff in the comments. If you stuck around this long, I'm gonna read one chapter of my book, and I'm going to be giving it away free over Christmas, folks. The ebook. So I'm not trying to pimp my book right now. I will give you Christmas. I will do like 24th, the 24th and 25th. You'll just be able to go to Amazon and download the ebook for free. The paperback you'll have to buy. But in my book, okay, and this came to me in a vision. This book. Never had any aspirations to write. I write about it. This bizarre dream I had. I think it was January 1st, 2008 or 9. I forget. I think it's 2008. Went to bed, you know, December 31st. Didn't drink or anything. Renee and I retired early, and I had this freaking wild vision, man. Really short, and it's that's what birthed this book. And I'm telling you, it's all playing out, and not a dream, folks. Not a night. I mean, kind of a nightmare, but it was a vision. It was bizarre. So and if you want to learn, you know, if you want to any info on my book, just go to. I thought I had it pulled up. Just the greatshipofknowledge.com. Just go to the greatshipofknowledge.com, and if you just click there, it'll go. There's 60 ratings right now. It's holding like 4.6 stars. For a guy that's never wrote a book, I'm, you know, fairly happy with that, I guess. And then the ebook will be free right here. It's $2.99, but you'll be able to download it for free the 24th and 25th. And if you want to know about how to contact me, about the story, and if you want a signed copy of the paperback, you can get them from me. But just the ebooks, you know, if you get a Kindle reader and get the ebook for free, it's and then read it at your leisure. But if you do nothing, read the Epiphany and the Geometric Progression of Technology, which is in the preface. And I think you'll enjoy it, and you'll see that I'm like spot on all this stuff that I wrote about. Whoops. So anyways, did I have that pulled up for you? I think I did. Yeah. So thegreatshipofknowledge.com. So anyways, I imagine the world that we're living in is the Matrix. However, we're not human batteries. We're here learning our history of how we destroyed the world. So imagine, and this is science fiction stuff, folks, but this is from this vision. So imagine we're here and we're going to going back 1,000 years, humanity, because we're really in the future, but we're here in this virtual reality, learning our past. Learning Earth's Deathly History is the book. So imagine though humanity destroyed Earth in a nuclear war and wiped out life, and they barely clung on, and they were able to decide at that point, killing each other really doesn't benefit us. Why don't we just all get along? And so they were able to launch a fleet of spaceships. They found another planet that was habitable because Earth is dying. And we were born in these, these birthing units on starships that are, going through the Milky Way galaxy at, the speed of light. And while we're growing, we're here learning in a perfected virtual reality what happened to Earth and how humanity blew it. So that's kind of the thrust of the story. And they can manipulate time in the virtual reality. So even though I'm going to be 61 this month, my true self may only be 15 years old. You see, and that way you're learning your life skills here. You're learning to interact. All the things we go through in the trials of life. You're learning a skill, and you're learning our history here on Earth. And then we wake up. This is a sci-fi geek dream on starships heading for this new planet that we tend to inhabit. But they thought, before we release humanity to just screw up again, let's make them learn how we messed up on Earth. So that's the story. And I will just show you a little artwork, and then I'll read you a chapter if you want to stick around and listen. It's a short chapter, but it all ties into the stuff I'm talking about right now. So our world, as far as being a virtual reality, this just kind of theoretical physics kind of blows my mind. 99.99999% of atoms are empty space, folks. The building blocks of everything physical around us are 99.99999% empty space. So I call them virtual world pixels. And then, whoops, get rid of that. And there's just a little artwork. So the starships I designed are aquatic based. That's a great ship of technology right there, the Hammerhead Shark. And then, so it's kind of a interesting premise that, while our true young, healthy forms are on these starships 1,000 years into the future from the time we're experiencing, and 1,000 light years from Earth, we're here learning our past. So I think it's kind of a unique book. If anybody knows anybody in Hollywood that wants to make a really cool movie, this would be it. I've been told that, by the way, by a few people. So, whoops. So here we are today, growing humans, getting ready to implant chips so you can be connected right to the internet. And anybody think people won't get those chips in their heads? When people, kids see their friends get the chip, you can't see it, it's wireless, it recharges wireless. They're like super geniuses now, right? Everybody else is going to seem like an idiot. And they're going to have an optic implant, I envision, at some point. So you're going to have, it's all working toward true to life virtual reality, right? So my thinking is, well, why aren't we, how do we know we're not the ones that are benefiting from this technology right now and not its inventors? So that's kind of where it went. But yeah, let me grab this. I'm sorry, I just got to change this to Kindle. It's a good book, folks, though. You'll enjoy it. If you're into sci-fi, if you like The Matrix, it's The Matrix on steroids. And it has a happy ending. I hate books and movies where evil wins. I love 1984. Orwell's brilliant. But Winston and Julia, they destroyed them, right? evil won. The tyrannical state won. It just pisses me off. But I highly recommend the book if you haven't read it. Let me see if I can make this just a little bigger. I think I can. If I try. Let's try this. Let's get it as big as I can make it, folks. So this is chapter 3. So there's 3 parts of the story. Part 1 opens up with the starships approaching the new world that we intend to inhabit. Explains, it's kind of like a Noah's Ark thing. The all of Earth's ocean species, all the life on Earth Earth is gone and destroyed. So everything, all the life of Earth is on these mammoth starships. And so Dr. Dieter, which you meet, you meet him, you learn what's going on with the story, and then it's only 3 chapters. Part 1's only 3 chapters long, and then he's going to go in now into the virtual reality in virtual person and talk to the first 100 dreamers that are going to be awakened on the starship and explain to them what's going on, that our life here is not what we think it is. And then the meaty part of the book is real time. It's not sci-fi. It's our time right now that we're experiencing going into World War III. Folks, God is my witness. This came to me in a vision, this whole story. I wrote about Putin moving his, military, getting ready to invade his neighbors. And the Dooms team, the Dark Order of Malign, seeking to eradicate America. In the book, World War III starts from the Dooms team deciding they really can't go along with their maniacal plans, like North Korea taking over South Korea, China taking over Taiwan and pushing out its influence in the world, Russia reuniting the land of Stalin, and on, with America in the way. So their thinking is, we will have this Dooms team, with some anonymity like ISIS or anything else, no home country, attack America with nukes. They won't know who did it. They'll be out of the way. We'll act like, oh God, we feel so bad for you, America. We want to help. When they're secretly laughing, okay, now we can forge ahead with our maniacal plans, for global dominance. Iran wants to take over the Middle East, all that. So we're heading there into nuclear world war, not in the way I wrote here, other than it's happening and we're heading for nuclear world war. So the meaty part of the book is our time now. And it follows a SEAL team and their lives. And I think you'll enjoy it. If you're not a sci-fi person, I think you'll enjoy that thick middle part of the book. And then part 3 is where the awakenings begin after we've learned Earth's deathly history, and we start waking up. And those were great interactions to write about, because how do you explain to you if you wake up on a starship after living through hell on Earth, right? And them explain to you, hey, that wasn't really, it was you mentally, it was spiritually, you were inhabiting a virtual reality as your body grew here. No, you're alive and healthy and fine. You're young, and we're getting ready to go inhabit a new planet, and so those interactions were fun to write about. So here's chapter 3, fairly short chapter. Dr. Dieter entering the virtual world, explaining to them what's going to go on, and this leads into learning Earth's deathly history. So try to get through this. I'm going to read it through my Kindle here. So the time is near, is all that we see or seem but a dream within a dream. That's a quote from Edgar Allan Poe. So comfortably seated in his imposing throne, Dr. Dieter answers the feathery intellectual. Mr. Hooter paused the virtual world feeds to the following dreamers in the A ward of human life cells on board the great ship of Unity. Freeze dreamers A1 through A100 as well as their replicated environments, and then patch in my virtual link when I arrive on stage shortly. The time has finally arrived for me to have my first face-to-face cyber chat with these dreamers. I will immediately, Dr. Dieter, and perhaps in the future you could task me with something truly worthy of my intelligence, pompously taunts Mr. Hooter after taking notes before abruptly placing his pen and pad behind the feathers of his left breast. You know, I do hold one of these from the most prestigious universities in the entire galaxy. Further criticizes Mr. Hooter upon hastily removing a double-rolled scroll from under the feathers of his right breast before using both of his wingtips to unroll and proudly flaunt his distinguished diploma. Without speaking another word, Mr. Hooter remains glaring above his reading glasses at the good doctor in a most condescending way while tapping a claw on the pad before evaporating from sight. After Dr. Dieter makes a few quick keystrokes, the single-frame 3D imagery of a row of human life cells currently showing on the space shield fractionalizes into dozens of smaller box views. Each shows a close-up of some of the individuals cocooned within the A1 to A100 chest on board the great ship of Unity. Together, all the youthful bodies whose limbs can be seen eerily exercising through the lids of their entombing cells go still at the exact same moment. Their nude forms rest as soon as the colored lights emitting from their neurological headbands noticeably change hues. Once more he types on the keyboard, causing the imagery to vanish in the sublime view out of his space shield of the enchanted star-filled heavens to burst into view again. Dr. Dieter rises from the ornate chair, taking the hollow pad off his desk before retrieving his lab coat and exiting his quarters. In shape, the hollow pad resembles a state-of-the-art e-book reader. Quasar, sound asleep, doesn't hear him leave. Deep inside the psyches of the young boys and girls imprisoned within the A1 to A100 life cells is where their spirits remain living out fictitious lives in a false reality that perfectly mimics life on Earth. Beyond a shadow of a doubt, they are convinced they are actually living on Earth. They don't question the reality of their world. Things seem completely normal for their convincing environments until their counterfeit surroundings shockingly stand still. Clocks have stopped. Birds are frozen mid-flight. Raindrops hover in the air. People, dogs, cats, cars, trains, motorcycles, bicycles, airplanes, and rivers, along with all other moving things, are suddenly stationary and suddenly silent. It looks exactly as though someone has pushed a pause button on Earth, freezing every moving thing, stopping time and space in its tracks. With the exception of their eyes, even their bodies are locked statue still, posed in assorted positions in both public and private locations. The suspended people are terrified and even more frightened when Dr. Dieter abruptly materializes out of thin air, instantly appearing to be physically standing just a few feet in front of each and every selected dreamer. His lifelike manifestation is replicated, placing him in plain view of every targeted person, regardless of their geographic location on Earth. Dr. Dieter is wearing his white lab coat, and he is the only thing moving freely about in their motionless environments, where the only sound is his footsteps. As when suffering an extremely scary nightmare, the dreamer's eyelids are forced wide open, and no matter how hard they try, they can't close them. The petrified men and women, both young and old, try with all their might to move, but unable to, they remain scared stiff. Yet they are able to shift their eyes, which are all fixated on Dr. Dieter. Even though their forms are frozen like life-sized wax figures, the dreamers can still hear, smell, and see perfectly. Dr. Dieter begins speaking to the frightened souls, using a kind, reassuring tone of voice, like he's talking to innocent children. First, I would like to take a moment to say hello and formally introduce myself. My name is Dr. Dieter Steingraber. My friends simply call me Dr. Dieter, and you may too. I reside on the great ships with your true life forms. At the moment, I'm personally addressing you and 99 of your fellow dreamers who are living in various parts of this fictitious planet. Now would be an excellent time for you to familiarize yourselves with my face, since I will be one of the first people you see when you are spiritually awakened from your virtual existences. I trust all of you are terrified right now because you and your surroundings are paralyzed. But please don't be. I promise you have nothing to fear. You should know that I also had to first experience being mentally born in this computer simulation as well as mature in the cyber world, which culminates with virtually learning Earth's deathly history before I was spiritually awakened, explains Dr. Dieter. He has had friendly mannerisms while speaking, even pacing back and forth at times. But now his sociable expression visibly turns intense as he faces each person. His voice changes tones, making his somber words sound serious as he resumes his speech. I will do my best to explain why the reality of this world and your surroundings are not what they appear to be. This place you deem to be physical is instead a perfect forgery of a planet long gone, a faultless counterfeit made to perfectly replicate living on Earth during the early 21st century. To begin, you are currently transcendent beings, not living in the physical dimension. Your lucid existences here are made possible by extraordinarily sophisticated computer equipment, automated machinery, and advanced cryogenic devices. The complex virtual world technologies are controlled and overseen by a singular, self-aware, synthetic being. Although each and every one of you, no doubt, is convinced you were actually born in this world, none of you were. Instead, only your spirits were birthed and raised in this earth-mirroring cyberspace. In truth, your real bodies were conceived in artificial wombs held within the belly of the great ship of unity. They are your birthing chambers and sustaining life cells where your factual forms remain. Your individual chest is where your true physique is safely kept, submerged in extremely complex nanofluid. The special substance is an intricate marriage of chemistry and technology. The miracle solution maintains, nourishes, and exercises your cocoon bodies as they age while your psyches exist here. Think of this virtual reality as being a remarkable place for your minds to quickly grow up learning the lessons of life. It's a place where you have already enhanced your intellects at accelerated rates of growth by virtually attending schools and colleges over your seemingly long spiritual lifetimes. Simply put, the clock of this world does not run in sync with the clock of the real world. Thus, even though your spiritual forms have grown older here, your true forms have aged little. And other than subconsciously coercing many of you into learning English as a second language and prodding a number of you toward a certain major or profession, you all have free will. You live by your decisions. But most important, this virtual world allows you to experience what living on Earth was actually like during this bleak period in our history. So you can learn in virtual person just how sadly humanity behaved during this juncture in their past. Very soon, all of you will experience learning Earth's deathly history in this true-to-life yet artificial reality. Only at the conclusion of your virtual history lessons will your experienced minds be reconnected to your inexperienced forms when you are each awakened. It saddens me to inform you that, for the most part, every person you know is simply a soulless computer-generated projection empowered by artificial intelligence. That said, many of them do make for good and not so good company during your mental journeys. They are simply character actors, cyber beings playing their parts on the world stage. Yet I can happily tell you that each of you does know at least one other dreamer. They are your soulmates, but none of you will discover who they are until your spiritual awakenings. Without exception, your spirits, along with those of all the other dreamers held within the mothering great ships, are living in this world representing individual men and women of all faiths, ethnicities, and nationalities. And without exception, all of you must regretfully suffer through learning Earth's deathly history before ever being physically revived. I might add, all of you will have total recall by retaining the education, knowledge, and life experiences you gained during your cyber lifetimes here. Your dream life experiences and cultured skills will soon be needed for exploring and colonizing our new home, explains Dr. Dieter. Without warning, the dreamers' virtual environments miraculously disappear when each of their unique surroundings metamorphose into the same virtual imagery of a row of tall industrial stacks rising from a large coal-fired power plant in a sprawling and dense city. The smokestacks can be seen in the background pumping their dirty discharges into the atmosphere behind Dr. Dieter. A virtual reality slideshow ensues with the vistas displaying coal, nuclear, natural gas, and hydroelectric power plants from around the world. The scenes appear incredibly lifelike And the dreamers are convinced they are actually at these places where they can see, smell, feel the wind, and hear clearly. Dr. Dieter re-engages his telling tongue. You are living out your virtual lifetimes during Earth's early 21st century when coal, nuclear, natural gas, and large hydroelectric power plants are being overworked, trying to satisfy the expanding global needs for low-cost electrical energy. This year alone, in Earth's history, over 1,600 new coal-fired power plants are under construction or soon to be built. 40% of the world's electric generation is produced by coal-fired power plants, while less than 10% of the world's energy is produced by green energy sources. You're witnessing a time when humanity is increasingly gaining pioneering technologies at geometric progressive paces. Humanity is gaining new understanding regarding physics and sciences like never before, learning more in the past 50 years from this juncture than during humankind's total prior existence on Earth. It's not only a time when technology is snowballing, but it's also a time when Earth is becoming decreasingly smaller from the world's ever-increasing population swelling to over 7.5 billion people, with almost 1 billion people starving. Over 3 billion people live in poverty or worse, extreme poverty. Hunger and disease plague the poor and ill-governed nations. 10 million children die each year during this heartbreaking period in Earth's progression due to world poverty alone. You're experiencing a time on Earth when thriving nations cozy up with adversarial nations, coveting their trade and energy resources, trying to feed their insatiable appetites. Yet the same countries steer away from lands with few resources, like islands populated by lepers, comments Dr. Dieter. The virtual imagery of power plants ends and is followed by projections that quickly show the progression of the computer in snapshots, from its infantile bloated beginnings to the powerful handheld models of today. Then lifelike imagery displays the Wright brothers' first flight at Kitty Hawk, followed quickly by convincing imagery showing the progression of air travel, leading to modern jets, both civilian and military. Imagery of early Apollo and Vostok rocket launches follow before showing NASA space shuttle flights and modern-day rockets, explosives takeoffs, as well as the International Space Station. Virtually shown next is a group of physicists working inside the highly advanced Large Hadron Collider's control room. After that, the real-life vistas rapidly changed to scenes of overpopulated metropolises around the world before displaying hundreds of starving, inadequately dressed children living in squalor in a poor African village. The virtual reality slideshow continues. The Chinese state can be seen being entertained at the White House before vanishing and transforming to the next true-to-life scene. Dr. Dieter resumes his speech with the subject matter of the virtual projections continually morphing into factual imagery that corresponds with his vocalizations. Humankind during this period is using Earth as if she is a disposable planet by polluting her ground, water, atmosphere, and even the outer space surrounding her geological wonders. Parts of Earth become more toxic and polluted daily, so much so that some large cities are barely visible from a distance since large blankets of thick smog hide them from view. Whirlpools of decomposing garbage, some hundreds of miles across, spin in Earth's less than pure oceans. You're witnessing a time on Earth when humanity continues contaminating their home by placing the importance of the world's immediate economic prosperity over the health of the very planet they and all of Earth's living species inhabit. Earthquakes and seismic activity have been increasing as the signs of atmospheric damage begin changing Earth's once stable climate to unpredictable and sometimes violent weather patterns. Killer tsunamis caused by powerful earthquakes are becoming all too frequent, along with the alarming number of murderous droughts, floods, hurricanes, and typhoons that are also on the rise during this portion of planetary history. At this point in Earth's past, colonies of bees are dying for uncertain reasons, while other species have already become or are becoming extinct yearly. Some species thrive while other species migrate to geographic locations they had never before inhabited merely to survive, explains Dr. Dieter. As he spoke, mountains of rubbish rising high from large landfills, garbage polluted waters, factories pumping their chemical waste into nearby waterways, and smog-mothered cities, including Beijing, China, were some of the realistic projections displayed. The people on the crowded walkways in Beijing could be seen all wearing dust masks to filter the toxic air. Then the convincing views of devastating earthquakes, tsunamis, hurricanes, and other natural disasters were shown, delivering their deadly destruction to cities and places around the globe. Beekeepers discovering hives of dead bees were virtually shown, followed by various uplifting as well as unsettling wildlife projections. The authentic imagery of time and place surreally interchange in the dreamers' environments, and they are utterly convinced they are physically at these worldly locations where they feel wind, rain, and heat, and can hear, smell, and breathe the air of their realistic surrounding. Dr. Dieter continues, even worse, you're living through a time of loathing between sects of Muslim, Hindus, Jews, Christians, and other religions that in some cases have festered for thousands of years are now nearing critical mass. Civil unrest has engulfed the Middle East and is even common in parts of the world that were once considered stable. You're experiencing a time when totalitarian nations thirst for more power, while the foundations of once powerful democratic countries erode from internal corruption and ideological misleading. Fearsome animosity exists between communist, socialist, democratic, and republican nations over ideological and political views that are loudly manifested in United Nations sessions. It's a time on Earth when small wars rage, saber rattling between nuclear nations is commonplace, and the world's deadly arsenals have become scientifically sophisticated. It's a period when terrorist organizations, along with several rogue countries, have a perverse lust for weapons of mass destruction. And it's a demented era when a depraved few are willing to sacrifice the entire world for their sinister beliefs. So you know, it was decided long ago that we must all suffer through learning Earth's deathly history before ever being spiritually awakened. Excuse me, folks. This is so we can learn the mistakes of the old world before ever inhabiting the new world, he explains. Dr. Dieter pauses a second, stroking his beard before reaching inside his lab coat's inner chest pocket to retrieve a pair of very dark eyeglasses. He puts them on, and the current compelling imagery shows a sequence of intercontinental ballistic missiles being launched from around the globe. The dreamers' realistic environments change from one location to the next. The last menacing rocket takes flight, vanishing from their views, when the disturbing and noisy scenery is replaced by a wide vista of a very large city with numerous skyscrapers outlining its broad skyline. The urban complex no more than comes into view when a high-yield nuclear warhead detonates at the hub of the sprawling city. The murderous bomb levels the thriving metropolis, populated by millions of people within seconds. Even watching from a safe distance, the bright flash of light is blinding, the sound deafening, the superheated blast of wind almost unbearable, and the destruction utterly devastating. The putrid reek of death now permeates the air. It is truly the most horrible, heartless thing for one to ever witness. During the initial explosion, the dreamer's eyes are temporarily shielded to protect them from the blinding light. The huge expanding mushroom cloud of destruction still rising over the just incinerated city vanishes from sight along with all the distressing imagery, thereby morbidly ending the virtual reality slideshow. Dr. Dieter places his glasses back in his lab coat. He remains silent until the overall dreamer's realities are systematically restored in an instant to how they appeared when he first interrupted them. Although exceedingly alarmed, the paralyzed people know something extraordinary is happening to them. So they listen attentively when Dr. Dieter resumes his speech in their paused world. Maybe instead of arguing whether climate change was natural or man-made, the peoples of Earth should have simply agreed to work together to keep their air, lands, and waters clean regardless of global temperature variations. That simple goal, not to pollute their only home, should have been easily achievable. It would have benefited all life. They certainly should have worked together to rid their world of nuclear weapons, since, in the end, it wasn't global warming caused by climate change that cataclysmically overheated their Earth. If only human beings had understood just how incredibly rare their special home was, maybe then they wouldn't have worked so hard to destroy the Almighty's work. After astronomers painstakingly searched the heavens for a planet suitable To sustain Earth's salvage life, only one planet similar to Earth in nearly every way was found, far, far away from the dying orb located deep in the Milky Way galaxy. The great ship sailed for a millennium across the galactic sea to reach the New World, and years before arriving at the spectacular planet, the mothering starship's life cells started coming online in phases, giving birth to you along with all other species uniquely of Earth. The armada of great ships is currently in a holding pattern near the New World, a beautiful living planet that is light years away from the Old World. I know as you hear me what I'm saying is making no sense to you. Nevertheless, soon what I am telling you will make perfect sense. Earth, the moon, the stars above, along with all the people, places, and things surrounding you are no more than a very convincing but false reality. So the people and places you know, including all the material things surrounding you, are but perfect copies of the world humankind destroyed long ago. I know this place, your existences here, seems so lifelike and real. For instance, you can feel the slightest motion and the slightest emotion. All of your sensitivities work. You can touch, smell, feel, hear, and see. You can be sick or healthy and be sad or happy. You can drink, breathe, eat, and sleep. Your sentient cyber forms are convincingly perfect in every way to reflect you actually living on Earth. You remember being very young and living out your lifetimes to date on Earth. A number of you have cherished memories of watching your children grow up, yet mournful memories of watching your parents fade away. You've made friends. Maybe you've lost loved ones to sickness or tragedy over your lifetimes here. I can tell all of you now that despite how old you believe you are, most of you are still just teenagers, including your group. There are a total of 144,000 dreamers of all nationalities and ethnicities in perfect health on board the child-bearing great ships. Currently in this world with you are the infantile virtual video game beginnings of this time period. But that technology will survive the disaster and evolve into the super virtual world technology that makes this perfect fabrication possible. Like historical vacuums, as each second passes during this period, billions of smartphones, office and home computers, video and digital cameras, along with other electronic equipment, document and record seemingly endless information during this era in Earth's past. A future technology which you cannot yet comprehend will use this information to build this convincing forgery of life on Earth. All of you have witnessed great inventions come to market during your spiritual lifetimes, but they will pale in comparison to what awaits every one of you once you have awakened from completing your history lessons, solemnly proclaims Dr. Dieter. He stops pacing and again turns to face the immobile individuals. Our long-dead relatives wanted us to know everything about our past. Lengthy discussions were held by the best academic, political, and social and scientific scholars from around the world who formed the intelligentsia. This elite group of astute people was called the Great Intellects. They were elected members of Earth's Congress. Some of them wanted to withhold some of the negative aspects of humanity, while others reasoned we were entitled to learn all of their world's history. At the end of what they referred to as the Great Debates, they decided we were indeed entitled to the knowledge of all of Earth's history, the good and the bad of humanity. They wanted us to see, understand, and live, even in a realistic dream, their way of life before we ever set one foot on the new world. The great intellects wanted us to see their divided world as it was, with peace and war, wealth and poverty, health and disease. They have held no knowledge back from us regarding humanity's darkest days on Earth. Earthlings made such great scientific advancements, and they could have been a great society living in a world at peace. But as you will soon discover for yourselves, in the end, they could not do the simplest thing: live together in peace and love one another in harmony. Soon it will be our decision on which school of thought to base the kind of society we build on the new world. But for now, your spirits must remain imprisoned here so you can finish experiencing this terrible time in Earth's history when some nations, both large and small, are led by powerful, tyrannical governments with their leaders driven by strict ideological convictions. These fanatical-led nations are determined to force their ideology on the whole world. So driven is their lust to rule, the world that it blinds them from seeing what their selfish quest will do to the world, grievously explains Dr. Dieter. He pauses for a melancholy moment before continuing his speech with happier mannerism. I have seen our ineffable new world, and it is more beautiful than any words can possibly describe. But before you can witness it for yourself, you must first witness the destruction of the old world caused by the mortal failures of humankind. At this point in your virtual history lessons, you know humanity is already built and currently possesses the weapons of Armageddon. And some of you with keen senses suspect the divided world is readily preparing for the last war of humanity, the great war that will end all. The knowledge of the atom, which had brought such great wonders to the humans of Earth, with its atomic power potential to heal them and energize their world for the benefit of the whole human race, is a perfect example of what can happen to a civilization that gets a hold of the right knowledge at the wrong time. This atomic knowledge did so much good for humanity, but in the end it did far, far worse as a terrible force used for destruction. Humanity was not ready to possess its power, which they ultimately used to destroy themselves as well as all life on Earth. The time is near when you will complete your celestial history lessons and be awakened to see your true-blooded bodies for the first time. Only then will you truly exist in the factual reality. I know all of you have made some poor choices during your virtual lifetimes, choices you deeply regret and have thought, if only I could have a second chance. Well, soon you will get that second chance, so use it wisely. Once awakened and while you're dealing with the reality of living your lives in this illusionary world, you will be shuttled to United Earth Starship Guardian. The UESG is the great ship of technology, and she is the mighty flagship and protector of the fleet. Shortly after you land in her, you will be assigned to and shown to your new dormitories. Each of you will receive a personal holopad like this one, which is an advanced type of handheld computer, explains Dr. Dieter. While speaking, he appears to magically conjure up a holopad when he holds his up for the dreamers to see before he sets it down, making it appear to vanish from his hand. Also, once on board, you will be given your intern uniforms in addition to your individual welcome packages, which include some personal hygiene items and small gifts. All of you will meet privately with a counselor to reflect on your virtual lives. He or she will help you recover from virtual world disorder. Each of you will suffer from some level of VWD, and the sickness will last longer with some than others. This is one of the reasons you all have soulmates. Together you can help one another overcome the sickness as you adjust to factual reality. You are all required to go to school, and your orientation classes will be held in the Great Hall of Lectures, where instructors will assign you to study in teams before you begin the required 200 hours of basic training to learn the fundamentals of space life. Your group will be the first set of dreamers to finish learning Earth's deathly history. The variety of occupational skills that each of you will have virtually learned will be needed as all of us help in exploring and colonizing our new home. Soon after you have completed basic training to get acclimated to space life, we will take you on tours of the great ships so you can learn your way around parts of them. Then you will witness for yourselves the treasured life of Earth that the great ships carry, including all forms of wild, domestic, aquatic, and botanical life. Our great ships may carry the cherished life of Earth, but we alone shoulder the awesome responsibility of ensuring its and our own survivals in the cosmic heavens. Waiting for over 1,000 years stowed in the belly of cargo great ships are carrier-sized land exploration vessels, which themselves contain varying aircraft in addition to land and water roving vehicles. Several new exploration crews will be formed before being assigned to crew one of these specialized exploration vessels. And once these crews have mastered how to use the incredible technology, the departing ceremonies will be held to officially commission these crews and their new vessels into service just before they embark to explore the expansive continents of the New World. Some of these exploration crews will use their remarkable aircraft to seek out suitable topography for us to build some of our first settlements, while other exploration crews will seek out proper places for Earth's mammals to survive. For example, the crews will find appropriate habitats for elephants, tigers, lions, deer, and bear, along with the rest of Earth's indigenous wildlife, who are waiting to be freed from captivity and released onto the living planet. Outposts will need to be built and staffed so we can monitor all the species as they adapt to their new homes. Botanists will search for suitable soils to seed and plant, while agricultural experts will search for areas to raise livestock and farm on the new world. As soon as some of the crews of exploration have identified suitable places for us to construct base camps, a few of you, along with others, will help in building our first settlements. To explore the new world's vast oceans and seas, submarine crews will need to be formed to staff the sophisticated manta ray and mako shark submarines currently stowed in large cargo holds within the bellies of some of the great ships. Once these crews have mastered their submarine technology, the parting ceremonies will be held to commission the submarine crews and their new vessels into service, after which they will immediately set out to explore the vast seas and oceans of our new home. These special crews, including marine biologists and oceanographers, will use their skills to search for suitable waters and climates in which to release Earth's aquatic species, while at the same time exploring and surveying the vast waters of the new world. But before any of this can take place, you and the others must first complete your history lessons. And let me assure you that, as I too discovered, you will only be learning Earth's deathly history before being physically revived. And trust me, you will want to be awakened from the hellish nightmare you are about to experience, intones Dr. Dieter, his demeanor noticeably dismal. He quickly regains control of his dark emotions before continuing in a brighter mode. Together, we will only learn the rest of Earth's history at the grand opening of the great ship of knowledge. No one has ever seen the cargo of this noble starship since it set sail a millennium ago, but we do know some of its contents. It has the entire history and knowledge of humankind's life on Earth stored within its great library. Soon, after all our fellow dreamers are awakened and we have somewhat settled on the new world, a special crew will identify an exceptional place to hold the festival of life. And a very special crew will be picked to land the great ship of knowledge on the new world before preparing it for its grand opening. Some lucky people yet to be identified will be in charge of organizing the parades along with other spectacular events planned for the Festival of Life. It is believed our long-gone relatives have prepared a grand and unimaginable show for us that will start automatically shortly after the seals are broken to the great ship of knowledge's massive stage doors. Doors that were sealed shut over 1,000 years ago. It is promised that on the day the doors open, we will discover who our true parents were, along with our individual family histories. Well, enough about the future. For now, I must leave you here in this cyber world experience the past, so you can finish your history lessons by witnessing for yourself humanity's cataclysmic failures on Earth. Not too long from now, you will begin living out their homicidal history. Humankind on Earth hoped the darkness of their past would be the light of our future. In closing, I promise the next time any of you see me will be shortly before you are awakened. Goodbye for now, concludes Dr. Dieter. Then, just as quickly as he had abruptly appeared in front of every dreamer, Dr. Dieter vanishes. No longer restrained, the immobile men and women, regardless of their geographic location on Earth, are instantly set free when their halted world is put back in motion. Everything that was paused is now moving again, as if nothing had ever happened to interrupt the smooth flow of events surrounding them. They each undeniably recognize something extraordinarily enlightening has just supernaturally happened to them. The targeted dreamers are frantically looking around every which way, trying to spot the eccentric, gray-haired, bearded man dressed in his white lab coat. Seeking instant verification of what just incredibly happened to them, some of the shaken men and women are hastily asking people located near them if they saw and heard Dr. Dieter too, but they had not. Troubled, others quickly rationalize that what just happened to them by reasoning they have suffered through some freakish, living nightmare phenomenon brought on by lack of sleep or caused by psychotropic drug use or some other root cause. Still others, who are emotionally frustrated, temporarily subdue people positioned next to them, trying to forcefully convince them that they must have witnessed what they have just inexplicably transpired, but none have. Over time, all of the bewildered men and women eventually shake off their surreal experiences as some sort of delusional vision and soon return to life as normal in their convincing world where they are about to begin learning Earth's deathly history. And then it goes on to part 2, folks, where this is not science fiction, more just fiction, learning Earth's deathly history. So I'm hoarse now. Are you happy? Let me get rid of that. So that's it. So that would be what I talked about, growing humans and, the brain chip, if you will, and the virtual reality being used. That's where I see it going in the future in a functioning society, is it would be used for teaching, not, revisionary history either, real history. That's why you can't let these evil people have this technology. But imagine in the future, people no longer read books to learn history. You enter the virtual world and you live history. And so that's the twist on this book, because the Matrix never made sense to me, that we're human batteries. It defies thermodynamics. It would cost more energy to grow the humans and maintain the humans than they would mine out of them. And it may, plus, it's a futuristic world where the machines have taken over. There's the singularity has happened, and the machines are, can think on their own. I mean, they'd have built nuclear power plants or something to power their world. They wouldn't be growing humans. And as we're learning, we're going to have fusion power soon. So my fear is, and I know I'm right on this, humanity cannot be trusted with this technology that's coming. After nuclear world war, when we've all about wiped each other out, then maybe there'll be an awakening and people will get it, right? But so keep in mind, folks, this is a science fiction book. I'm a Christian. I believe in the Bible. I believe, and in a way, this follows the book of Revelation, right? We're gonna suffer through the end of the world, and Christians, we're gonna wake up in a sinless environment with a new body, and it's gonna be a rebirth, right? So I think it follows a biblical theme. So I don't want to hear all the blowback. God's gonna. This is, I get it, folks. Trust me, I'm a believer. If you want to learn more about the story, I'm going to give it away free, folks. That you can get the 24th, and I'll do it again at New Year's. So the 24th and 5th, you can just go to thegreatshipandknowledge.com, click on buy the book. It'll take you to the Amazon page. Click on the ebook and download it for free. If you don't have a Kindle reader, it's free. You can download it on the internet onto your desktop or laptop, or you can get the, I have it on my phone. And to be honest, the Kindle reader, it's not a lot bigger than this. A little better. I mean, it's lightweight. It doesn't weigh as much as this. But as far as screen, it's not a lot bigger than just downloading the Kindle app out of the Play Store on your phone and reading it here. And I'll just give you an example real quick so you can see what it looks like. Where's my Kindle? Let me open up a book. There we go. How about Orwell's 1984? So you can see, let's see if I can see that. So there's the screen, and then let's see, introduction. So that's the Kindle on your phone app. So I wouldn't buy the Kindle reader. I just get the app on your smartphone, unless you don't have one. If you got a flip phone, then I'd probably buy the Kindle reader, or just download Kindle on your laptop or your desktop. So the 24th and 5th, you can go to thegreatshipandknowledge.com, click on buy the book, take you to the Amazon page, click on the ebook, download it for free. Hope you enjoy the story. Read the the front. This isn't science fiction. Read The Epiphany and the Geometric Progression of Technology. That I wrote this a while ago. It's all playing out. It's really, really bizarre. But this is not science fiction. That they're going to grow babies. This is frightening. They're all going to be genetic engineered. This is like Hitler. Third Reich Nazi stuff. They're going to grow superhumans, right? I'm against it. Okay, for the record. At least as the psyche of the world now, because it will be used for evil. And same thing with the Neuralink. They should just pass laws right now and say it can only be used for helping restore vision or people get their motoring skills back that are paralyzed from a car accident or something. Don't hook us to the internet, but they're going to, because technology. Do I have that here still? Yeah, right here. Right? This is the phones, right? I don't know who did this artwork, but that says so much right there, right? We are cyborgs right now. I mean, we are. This one Elon Musk said. We're already hooked. We don't. I mean, look at you. You leave the house, people get a block away. Can they just keep going to the grocery store to get groceries? Oh, I forgot my phone. I got to run back. It's like you left an arm laying on the table or something. And so we're under attack by technology. Humanity is. The silicon, I won't call them humans, but, androids are coming. And, every sci-fi movie I've ever seen, where we start making robots, it ends badly. Think of, they feel threatened, like Skynet, right? You can unplug Skynet in the Terminator. It tried to wipe out humanity. The HAL 2000 and 2001, A Space Odyssey. When they were going to unplug it, he wasn't happy. And then a lot of movies like that. Going way back, by the way, into the 20s, there was a play, R-U-M. It was a play about humanity had made androids, right? And they looked human, but they did the work in the humans. And it was a peaceful existence until they turned and destroyed humanity. So I'm into carbon formed. I'm into God's creations. Don't mess with it. They want to play God. That's what these people want to do. These transhumanists. And get rid of that. And I just think it's bad. So let me know what you think. Sorry this video went on a little longer than I thought. I didn't plan on reading that chapter, but I wanted to show you there's a good side of technology that could be used. And the reason the humans were growing, birthed in the life cells on board the great ships, that's how you don't have mutinies in outer space on a 1,000-year voyage. You have a skeleton crew, and the Earth's life forms weren't born until they were approaching the new world, right? So you don't have generations trying to survive on starships for 1,000 years. So it was the way. It was, in theory, this was the way they figured out how can we move life on Earth to another planet. So that was the reason for it. So, it was used in a good way, right? To save humanity and all of our carbon-based life forms. And there's a marriage with technology that, we either got to get rid of it and we got two choices. One, we embrace and control technology, but there has to be some controls, some limits. That road we're on, and I don't think you can stop it. The technology is run amok now. The genie's out of the bottle. they've opened Pandora's box. But I'm not so sure that we would not be better without the technology and all living like the Amish. That would be the better survival for we would avoid nuclear world war. But I think we're heading for a nuclear world war. I think it's playing out. We're going to find out here really quick. They're sending Patriot missile batteries to in our aircraft. I think they've the no-fly zone now that NATO is putting it over Ukraine. Folks, this is, it's just not good. Just not good. Let me know your thoughts, though, of all this crazy technology that's going on. Hope you enjoyed that. Take care, Patriots. I'll make another short video. Sorry this one went much longer than I planned. Bye.